What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast season preview edition, y'all. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago, and we've got the whole crew. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck, Big Dave, bam, BAWL Sports, Will, four-time champion Perdue, Will_Perdue 32. And the other Will go Gottlieb, perfectly walked as always. Will_Gottlieb.
One of these days you're going to mess up and say, I'm the four-time champ. And it's going to feel great.
There's no evidence that you're not. Like Rec League championships, I want to see Goats trophy ring.
The CDG League guy, we still haven't heard back, is all I'm saying. Still haven't heard back.
Still waiting for that call.
Still waiting for the call.
Still waiting for it.
You know where to find me, Bulls.
And our pal and producer on the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy.
Katie!
Who reminded me that even if we did have an Empire today, she wouldn't sing it because we got 4 mics on set, no mic.
Well, she told me
I will miss Katie's input on today's show.
She told me I can relate all her messages today for everything that she said.
Oh,
so,
but
yeah, the first thing says she loves everyone right here. Everybody's
she
great.
can still let you know she's your number one fan.
Yeah, she can. She can. She can do this. She will.
So today is the eve of the Bulls' 24-25 regular season beginning. Game 1 tomorrow night down in New Orleans. Goat's going to be there. Me, Big Dave, and Perdue will be here for pre- and post-game for y'all tomorrow night. So we thought today would be the perfect opportunity to talk about some of the biggest questions that lie ahead this season, what we're looking forward to, what scares us. I have a lot of those. And also make some predictions at the back end of the show about what we think the Bulls are going to do results-wise, and then also around the league, some of the biggest questions and predictions. With that being said, guys, the first one, and shout out to Go for organizing this roundtable, also available in column form, ALLCITY.com. What are you most looking forward to? Let's start there, because I feel like a lot of us had slight variations to our answers, but it was mostly about seeing a variety of these young guys, some of them newcomers, getting minutes in year one of this youth movement. And Perdue, I thought it was interesting that your answer kind of was all-encompassing, because some of us mentioned Modest Buzelis, some of us mentioned Josh Giddey and what he'll look like, the ascension of Kobe White, and you basically said pace of play. That was your answer. And we saw the Bulls, I believe, finish first in the NBA in pace of play in their preseason games.
Well, that's truly the only way they're going to have a chance to win these games is how fast can they play. Remember, we talked about, I think, one of the first preseason game, we talked about, according to what Billy had said, which they lived up to in the preseason, this team was going to be about volume. Okay? This is going to be about, quantity, not about quality. And he talked about, it was kind of interesting in today's interview on 670, he talked about, we're hoping to play fast enough that guys can't play 10 or 11-minute stretches. They can only play 6 or 7-minute stretches. And that's why he feels like he needs 10 deep every single night. And I have a feeling, we'll get into this later in the show, but it's going to take longer. He's going to have to go deeper than that, because I think we now know that Matas deserves minutes in the regular season. So when you look at that roster, if you say you're going 10 deep, where does he fit in that?
Right.
So I think he's going to eventually go 11 deep because of how they want to play, because I think we deserve to see him, and because of how he's played in the preseason, he deserves to get minutes.
I think we'll also find out about the conditioning of the team as well. If that's really how they want to play and just kind of outrun teams, well, we're going to see who's pulling hamstrings and who's going to have some tightness on some nights on a back-to-back and won't be playing. So that'll be found out as well,
Dave,
their off-season regimens and things.
I hate to interrupt, but I think we know that's going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
And they may not be injured, but
you've been on back-to-backs, just sitting on out.
That is correct.
Like that.
Minor tweak here.
Excuse me?
Minor tweak here and there.
Yeah.
Hamstring soreness.
Fine by me.
General soreness.
We've run 3 in a row. Pump the brakes.
Yeah. I mean, Goat, would you be interested in and excited to see a 10-man rotation from Billy out of the gate? Because especially if we're talking about Modest, the rookie, getting minutes, which I think most Bulls fans, if not all Bulls fans, really want to see this season, and you're talking about 10-man deep, even if you assume Lonzo, Ayo, Jalen Smith out of the gate as far as your first 3 off the bench, that's 8 already. And then you're talking about, even if you stretch it to 10 and Modest is one of those last 2, who's out? Because you still got Dalen Terry kicking around. You need to make a decision about whether or not he's a piece of this team's future. Julian Phillips, who looked good in preseason. Like, who are those 10, do you think?
I think it's probably going to be So obviously we know Lonzo's not going to be playing back-to-backs. They have a back-to-back, the first of
Friday,
a
Saturday.
night of a back-to-back in their second game. So I think when Lonzo plays, it will be Lonzo, Io, Jalen Smith, Modest, and Julian Phillips. I think that will be the second five. And then
Hold on a second. Say that again. You think Modest will play over Torrey Craig?
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I think he should, and I think he should. Like the Bulls need to be prioritizing. This season is not about.
No. I agree with you 100%. 100%.
But just a matter of whether they actually do it.
If preseason was any indication, Billy really only used Torrey Craig and Javon Carter for like mop-up minutes. In the second half.
And this season, like you can call it about like the integrity of the game or winning every game in front of them, whatever. Like what it's really about is, and they're not going to say this, it's not about like losing games, but it is about evaluating the talent you have. And the only way to do that is getting them on the floor. I think there's probably going to be times where Modest is maybe out of the rotation, times where he's in, but I think you pretty much have to put him in and not playing him 25, 30 minutes a night, but you have to give him an opportunity right off the bat. And then just to finish that thought, so obviously Lonzo's not going to play every game. On the days where he doesn't play, that's where I think you put Dalen Terry in to be that kind of point guard, defender, point of attack guy who can also run the break and move the ball a little bit. So I think that's how it works. And then you have Talon, Javon, Torrey Craig. Who am I missing here?
Tucker, Liddell.
Those are the two-way guys.
Carter.
Yep. So those guys probably will not be Duarte. And then this is great podcasting. I can't remember the last player. But then Dalen. But yeah, I think like, again, it just has to be about getting some of these new bodies in. And that kind of wraps into my larger point about like the thing I'm looking forward to most about the season is just having some like newness to the actual team that's on the court. Like I know a lot of the same players are out there, and there's probably going to be times where it's Zach, Kobe, Io, Patrick, and Vooch. And those guys all played heavy minutes the last 3 years. So it's not like it's a complete overhaul, but this team leaned so much into DeMar's strengths over the last 3 years. They obviously can't do that because DeMar's not here. So the pace, the running, the three-point stuff, all that wraps into this idea of playing a new style with some new players that I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, it was stale by the end of it these last 3 years, and I'm looking forward to seeing some new bodies out there.
And I think the only thing that wasn't stale last season when we got to the bitter end was the play and ascension of the play of Kobe White. And shout out to our guy Tony Gill, head of content here at CHGO. He also participated in this roundtable. He is the one who mentioned in what are you most looking forward to, the can Kobe White be an all-star this year question. I think a lot of Bulls fans are excited about and hopeful for. A lot of Bulls fans were pushing back on a take I had that went on Twitter earlier today when I said this team doesn't have a franchise player. They need to find one. Maybe they'll find it in the draft next year. A lot of people still seem to believe that Kobe White could be that guy. Some people also think that Modest Buzelis should not be ruled out yet of potentially being that guy. And that's where I'll meet Bulls fans halfway.
Yeah.
But Kobe White, I mean, Zach LaVine is still here, and they got to show him. They have to showcase him. They clearly have to play him a lot. He's got to prove to the rest of the league he can still be an all-star caliber player. I think Bulls fans, if you're asking them which they were more excited to see, can Zach LaVine prove he's still an all-star, or can Kobe White prove for the first time he's an all-star?
Yeah.
Heavy favorites would lean toward seeing Kobe White make that leap. Perdue, do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I'm actually going to predict that he's going to make the all-star team.
Wow.
As a coach's
Bold
pick.
takes.
I just think he won't make the all-star team on votes because the Bulls won't win enough games.
Right.
And let's not forget, how many games on national television?
3, maybe? 2?
Maybe.
Yeah. I think they have 2 on ESPN and 2 on NBA TV.
Okay. And
Derrick Rose is going to get more all-star votes than Kobe White. He just retired.
But that's unfortunate.
true.
That's a true statement.
Yeah.
But because he's just not going to get a lot of airtime, on national television. But I think that he's going to do enough damage against opposing teams that the coaches will vote him as an all-star.
Correct. I expect it just to be an all-star weekend in general. Even if it's not as an all-star, three-point shooting contest, skills competition, some kind of thing because I think he's going to have one of those seasons. And to even your point, Matt, where you were telling them about not having a franchise player, I just think, listen, you don't have to like the way he said it, but it's truth in what he's saying. Like if we're talking about going straight into the season and looking at what we have, even if you feel Kobe's a franchise player, he still has to prove it, which means you don't have one yet because it still has to be proven. So even with Modest, it still has to be proven. I believe Modest could definitely be a franchise player for sure. But again, going into this season, things have to be proven. So walking in, Matt's absolutely correct about what he's saying. It's not one that you just look at and say, oh, that's it. That's who we're building around. He's taking us this way and that way. They've got to prove it. We hope that they can prove it. I think Kobe White can definitely prove those things. I'll never doubt him ever about what he can be and what he can do. I'm already all in on Modest about what he can be and what he can do. But this has to be proven and shown before we can just start saying these guys are franchise players.
A few fans chiming in with their answer to what are you most looking forward to. Thanks for throwing that in the comments, Katie. Michael saying Zach playing well enough to be traded. I think that's an achievable goal. Adrian saying the end, so we can see Cooper Flag in a Bulls jersey. Adrian, same wavelength, my friend.
I'll take Ace Bailey too.
So moving into our next big question from our season preview roundtable, what defines a successful season? Huge question. Mine isn't something that Bulls fans who are rooting for W's this season will like, but 2 parts. The young guys play a lot, which I do have faith is going to happen. We will see it. We will see more of it as the season progresses, I think. And 2, mathematically protect yourself from giving this pick to San Antonio next June. That's it. I know it's not a fun thing to have is what defines a successful season, but to me, that's what defines a successful season. Dave, I feel like you probably feel differently.
Yeah, what did I say? I know I said what? Health
Big Dave being able to make some key trades that they've been trying to make to let the young guys grow.
Correct.
Also said, if they do actually make the playoffs, I won't be mad at all.
Won't be mad at all because that means everything worked and everything.
But that's playoffs as in top 6 seed, not
correct.
As in play.
And not play in. No, not at all. I did not say that. Also, shout out to Will Gottlieb for leaving out the first sentence of what I had in there. He didn't put it in there.
Did I not?
You didn't? No, you shouldn't have put it in there.
Oh, what was it?
I was messing with you. But go back and read.
Go to a little editing of your answers.
I thought I was actually going to ask you about that.
I want to know what it was.
I was like, I wonder if he'll put that in there. I was like, we'll see if he put that in there.
I didn't think that was part of the answer.
Wait, whoa. Back up. You can't throw that out there and then not.
There's
no way for the viewers and the listeners to see here because it's just between you two.
I'll read it.
Sure. Well, yeah, it is funny if Will.
It was funny.
Yeah, Will.
Let me pull it up.
Okay,
Give me a second.
here we go.
That makes more sense if Will.
He just said at the top. So I asked everybody to send me their answers to these questions and send them separately so that we didn't all have the same answers. And so Dave sent me 5 answers, but on top of that, he wrote, "First of all, Will Gottlieb, you stink, and I appreciate you." And I was like, "Huh."
You stink, and I appreciate you. It seems like sort of a two-pronged
I wasn't sure what to make of that.
You know what I mean? I hate your guts, Will. You my guy. That's basically what I was saying. Like, that was basically me saying, man, forget you for making us do stuff on a Sunday when I'm watching football.
That's what it was.
I'm watching football.
I get it.
How dare you, sir? But I got your back and I'll do anything for you. So it's all love. So yeah, but that's
I
all
hope your answer to number 3 didn't take you too much time. Defense, period. Health, period.
Yep. That's how I feel. That's it. But yeah, man. The trades need to happen. It's the same thing that you're saying, sir. Same thing. But let's see the trades go down first because nothing will happen without that first.
Let's put a pin in that because I do think we need to talk about the defining a successful season and whether or not trades are a part of that. On the other side of this quick break, more on CHGO Bulls. Today's show brought to you by Rhoback. You know it. We all know it. It's simple. Rhoback has the best fit and the best feel for quality apparel. The quality of the gear just speaks for itself. Their performance polos perform better in the heat than any other polos. Their moisture-wicking technology makes sure the polo doesn't stick to you and you have a nice stretch. Their everyday shorts are also perfect for the combo for a day on the move and looking clean enough, but to be used for comfort with that elastic waistband. With fall having arrived here in Chicago, what better item to prepare for the season than adding one of their performance hoodies to your closet? They're the softest items that they have. We can't recommend them enough, even now, in the occasional still hot, sunny day in Chicago. But we are right in the sweet spot of shorts and hoodie weather, Big Dave.
Oh.
I know it's one of your favorite times, one of my favorite times.
Big man
it's
summer.
the best, and Rhoback has you covered for this time of year. Their performance polos have collars that never lose their shape. They have it all. Solids, classics, stripes, different fun prints if that's your kind of vibe and style as far as the different designs they offer. So use promo code CHGO Bulls 20 on Roback.com and get a generous 20% off your first order. That's spelled RHOBACK.com, and 20% off all polos, all hoodies, and shorts with that promo code CHGO Bulls 20. Make sure to check them out. They'll get you ready for whatever travels or activities you have on deck.
Matt Peck, what time is it?
Give that move.
Game Time Picks is a brand new thing right there that's happening at Game Time that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events easier than ever. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They make it easier to save on more sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Game Time Picks. And of course, Game Time still has the all-in pricing. Of course, they have the lowest price guarantee. Of course, they have the Matt and Big Dave favorite, the seat views, where you can find out where you need to sit, stretch out, or where the bathrooms are. We need to be around all of that. And the Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. That's Game Time, y'all. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code, come on, Will Perdue, CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply. Terms apply.
That's CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply. Terms apply.
Download Game Time today. Because Will Perdue, what time is it?
Game time?
Hoot. No hoot, Will. You got to have a hoot.
Well,
It feels weird telling you this.
I knew he would step in.
I'm always there for the hoop.
It feels weird saying that to you because you heard it for years. You know what I'm saying?
Also, that's part of the job description I didn't tell you about when we were talking this summer is that you do need to occasionally be a backup singer for Big Dave when he's reading an ad.
That's it, man. Yeah. I'm going to put you in. I'm going to put you in the game.
Ooh,
Come on, man. Come on. See, he got it.
Clearly,
You got to
put that on your resume,
That's
man.
it, man.
Capable.
I just didn't know you thought you were Michael Jordan.
Scotty.
Hey. So,
Pax.
Yeah. Oh, don't let him be. Ooh, I just saw that range in his
No,
face.
Pax the player.
Yeah, it don't matter. He don't know how to separate.
He did hit one of the biggest shots in
Ever.
in
Ever.
I don't think
Franchise
I
history.
don't think I didn't see you chatting with your buddy John at Media Day. I saw that.
See,
I didn't make
things.
any comment.
Look at him.
Wow.
I didn't bull rush him.
See,
What's he still doing here?
Can't help
Getting back on track. Successful season.
Yeah.
Purdue, you defined it as seeing improvement and youth development and mentioned some of the older generation of young guys, P. Will, Kobe, Io. Also, player development for the younger crew like Julian, Modest, Dalen Terry. When talking about, hey, can we make some of these trades, as Big Dave said, as setting a goal for a successful season, do you think it is imperative and even necessary for the Bulls to find trades for Zach LaVine and or Io DeSumo? Zach LaVine and or Nikola Vucevic in order for some of those young guys to make those successful steps of progression this season?
No.
I think you can achieve both.
I think it's necessary to find trades to get some sort of value in return. And some sort of value could also be defined as getting a contract off the books without necessarily getting anything in return. But I will continue to say this. I will stand by this statement. I feel like this season's MVP will not be a player.
Who will it be?
It'll be Peter Patton. Because
Bold statement for a shooting coach.
yeah, but he's more than a shooting coach.
Okay.
He's a development guy. I know a lot of people talk about what he's done to help with my shooting, a la Io.
Right.
Okay. But let's be very clear. One thing I know about Peter Patton is he doesn't come up to people and be like, all right, I'm the development guy. You got to start working with me. I'm a resource. I'm here. And when you're ready, you come to me.
Okay.
Okay. So this is why I said a successful season is one where you see improvement. And I went down the list. P. Will.
Please.
Plain and simple, we don't need to talk about it.
No excuses to it.
But I have found out, keep your eye on this, that he is now working solely with Peter Patton.
Okay.
In the film room, on the floor. It's if this is the case, and if P. Will buy in, I promise everybody watching, you will see significant improvement. Now, it's still up to P. Will, and he's still got to find that dog in him because we're still waiting.
Is he helping him learn to be addicted to caffeine or something to get his motor up a little bit on the floor?
Well, what was
he
one
can
of
already shoot threes.
What was one of the things I always talked about when I was, at NBC Sports Chicago? Somebody should be feeding this dude nails.
Yeah, truly.
Okay,
true.
But it's just not in his personality, so they got to figure out how to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
They got to figure out how to get him to play with a chip.
Yeah.
And you think Patton is capable of pulling that out of him?
I think so.
Mm.
Because I think that's the one thing that Peter will do is eventually he will not give up. He will find whatever it takes to push his buttons and not necessarily, coddle him.
Right.
So I'll be interested. But moving on,
Very interesting.
Kobe, we talked about he's got to take that next step to be an all-star, which I think he will because we've seen that improvement, and I think he takes stuff like this personally to look within to be like, what can I really do to improve? All right. Io, is Io plateaued?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean he's not an NBA player. That means he's a very capable and productive NBA player. But can he still
has
get
another
better?
level of becoming an even more elite role player.
Right. Zach, for Zach, it's not about offense. It's about, is he willing to invest the time and effort on the defensive end to become a two-way player? All right. Josh.
Take your pick.
I mean, you want me to go down the list?
It's a list, man.
All right. Dale and Terry. There's a lot that can happen and see significant improvement. You may not see it in the record because there's certain things you can do to kind of control that.
Sure.
But I think when I said that is my thought is that we have to prove that the talent that we have, once a franchise player is inserted or once a multiple-time all-star is inserted, once a free agent is inserted, can now get this team to where they become a consistent playoff team and eventually become a team that is a contender, not a pretender, a contender. I know it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not talking about, hey, we're happy with 5th or 6th in the playoffs. We're talking about best record. We're talking about a team that can win a championship.
Right.
Because what I want to see is I want somebody to hold the Bulls' feet to the fire of when Michael Reinsdorf says, if we feel like we have a championship contender, we will go into the luxury tax.
Yeah.
I want to see this team in the luxury tax going for it.
How long have we heard that line? Years. And, they kind of maybe got close for half a season 3 years ago. And then obviously here we are now. No tax has been paid. But so it sounds like you're saying you could still view this as a successful season as someone who believes they do not have their franchise piece yet. If the pieces that you are currently building and evaluating to then place around the franchise piece, if and when you hopefully find that player, elevate their games so that they are ready to be a more competitive team when they find that piece.
Correct.
Okay. What about you? I mean, do you think that makes sense? What is a successful season to you?
To me, it's just like eyes on the prize, staying focused on the direction that you've kind of chosen here, whether it was intentional or not. Like, they are a team that you remove their 2 best players from last year, they're going to be worse. And they're doing that because they know that they need to find that franchise player. Way to do that, obviously, is in the draft. And that means staying focused on the lottery and not on the play-in. If you're 5, 7, 10 games out of the 10th seed at the trade deadline, are they going to say, oh, well, maybe we're close enough, we can make a little push for it, and that would be exciting, and we can sell this to the fans of, the young players have gotten us back to the play-in, which is where we were last year, and they're all much younger. We can kind of sell that as like a future thing. No, it's like you got to get your franchise player. We can talk about as much as we want about like how some of these guys could fit around them and the steps that they're taking, and that's all great. But like, to me, nothing matters until you have your franchise guy. Once you have the guy, then you can start building. And they're doing this kind of half foot in, half foot out, not really committing to either direction. And to me, that's how you end up in the middle. And so like there has to be a focus and commitment to competing with the teams who are going to say, you know what, Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickly, you guys have hamstring strains. You're not playing the last 30 games of the year. Like the Bulls have to be in that same boat because we know that those teams will do that. They did it last year. The Bulls have not proven that they can do that. So you can say, look, we're not going to be as good last year because we got rid of DeRozan and Caruso. This has to be intentional about where your direction is heading this year, because you have basically 2 tries. And then to me, it's like the plan should be you have 2 tries in the draft. You keep your pick this year and next year. And it's not just keep your pick. It's like get the number 1 pick. Having another 9th pick or 7th pick or whatever is not going to like move the needle long term in terms of finding that franchise guy. You need Cooper Flagg. He's the guy. You get him, now we can talk. But so to me, it's like you have these good contracts for Kobe and Ayo. They run out in 2 years. If you get 2 more draft picks that are going to be on cheap contracts, then you can use those low cap holds in order to re-sign those guys in 2 years, and then maybe have a play at a free agent too. Now you're talking about Kobe, Ayo, Patrick, Buzelis, Julian Phillips, 2 top 10 picks, hopefully better, and a free agent. That's when you start cooking. But you need, in order for that to work, you need to be focused on what is most important here. And what's most important here is not another trip to the play-in. It's getting that number 1 pick.
Yeah, I agree with the first half. I don't agree with the second half. I definitely agree with the first part of what you're saying. And I definitely agree they need to keep their top 10 pick. I only disagree where you find it, because I feel like you can find it within that top 10. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1, 2, or 3. I mean, it's way too many franchise players in this league that are like a number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 second round pick. Like, it happens, but they have to keep that pick. I'm in complete agreement with that. They have to keep this top 10 pick, or I'm going to be incredibly frustrated, like, because I don't see the point of this season just strictly going to another play-in again and missing out on that pick right there in a draft that's loaded as it is. And that's the other part of it for me. Like, the draft, it's some nice players in this draft right here. Even if you're looking at 1 through 7, if you want to stop there, those are really good players that are here and available. So obviously Cooper Flagg's the guy. You know, everybody likes him. I love Ace Bailey a lot. I think that dude is really special. So you can find those guys. Hopefully the Bulls end up with that, and I'm not mad if we walk away with one of those guys. But you can still, in my opinion, find a franchise guy within that top 5 or top 7 in this draft.
You could, but the odds of that are much lower. And like, if you look at this as compared to the analog of the 2023 draft 2 years ago, it was like Wembanyama, Scoot. Like, there's a couple of guys at the top, Brandon Miller, who were really exciting, clearly franchise-changing players. Sure. And like, would it have been good enough in that draft to just get Bilal Coulibaly or Jarris Walker? No, you want to get the top 3 guy.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I'm not saying it's impossible to find that guy 7th, 8th pick. Like, we've seen it.
Yeah.
It's happened before. But the odds and the probability of that when you are at the top of the draft is just higher. It just is. And so to me, like, that has to be the priority. And I understand why doing it the way that they seem to be doing it, in terms of, let's be relatively competitive, we'll have a good young core, maybe make a push for the play-in, and still try to keep our pick. That, like, straddling is how you end up where they always have been, in the middle. And so to me, it's like, if you want to get back to the point where you have a 90s run, if you want to get back to a point where you have a Derrick Rose type run, what do you need? You need a top
Derrick Rose.
You need a number 1 pick. You need, a number 3 pick. Like, that's how it goes. And I think that it's possible to find Giannis at 15 or Devin Booker at 13, whatever.
Or Steph at 7. Yeah.
But if you look at how the draft works, like, at the top of the draft is where you have the best chance of finding a star, and that's what they should be going after, the best chance of finding a star.
Adrian saying, I hear you, Dave, but Cooper Flagg has moved me to my core.
Dude, I'm not against get him if that happens. I'm saying I just want the top 10 pick, period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to lose none of that.
But like, are 2 or 3 extra wins in February and March worth the difference between Wembanyama and Jarris Walker? To me, it's not a question.
You just gave me a little mild heart attack, Will, just by saying that.
It's
we
just
got
not
to
a
take a
question.
quick break. When we come back on the other side, speaking of all these things, the next big question, what is your biggest concern as a Bulls fan this season? That's coming up next on CHGO Bulls.
You got concern?
Do I have concerns?
Beer! Drink it! Have it. Go ahead, have a sip right now. Go ahead, get yourself. Get you some Coors Light in your system. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen. Because between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing that chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the Will to Go Gottlieb and Will Perdue 813th annual karaoke house party? They had them. Or
At Peck's house.
you better believe it.
Sure.
Or after a tough loss, Settle scores with the ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for it. Coors Light, it is mountain cold refreshment, because when those mountains turn blue, oh yes, you know what to do. It's cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. Because when you embrace a chill mindset, it's time to crack open a Coors Light. That mountain cold refreshment is as crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of those times to choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
What a perfect pair for this ad break, because today's show is also brought to you by Z-Biotics. What? Let's face it, y'all. After a night with some drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to when I was young. Shout out to the Bulls not having any players born in the 80s on their roster this year. That made me feel old. I have to make a choice. I can either have a really fun night or a really great next day. That is until I found pre-alcohol. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not the dehydration, that's to blame for your rough following day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I kept hearing about this pre-alcohol stuff. Z-Biotics came on board. I was like, I got to try it. Y'all know I like to toss back a few beers.
I've been told.
And am getting older. Man, now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. With their GMO technology, they will release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in your gut. Go to zbiotics.com/CHGO Bulls to learn more and to get 15% off your first order when you use that promo code CHGO Bulls at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with 100% money back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Moving right along. Biggest concerns. Somebody said the one of the Bulls point guards having a knee injury. Don't do it, or a leg injury. I'm interested. KD, you, Mr. Perdue, both mentioned Lonzo Ball's name here as far as biggest concern this season. And I was surprised by that because I was like, look, as happy as we all are that we saw Lonzo play in those last two preseason games and look pretty good doing it. And all accounts from today's practice, Will Gottlieb, yes, is that he is going to play tomorrow night. And then hopefully one of two on their back-to-back Friday, Saturday. Of all of the concerns we have, Lonzo Ball going back to being unavailable is your biggest one. Like we've had 2.5 years to get used to not having Lonzo Ball available. Why such a big concern?
Because it's more about his overall health.
Yes.
When his career is over.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the right answer. Yeah.
I didn't mean to sound insensitive when I posed that question. I was just thinking, like, no, but like from a Bulls fan's perspective, there's plenty of things to be concerned about. I just thought it was interesting that two people here said Lonzo Ball's health.
Well, I think you were coming from the perspective of like, it's just
no, I know you weren't being disrespectful. I know where you're going with this, but listen.
That's right. Shut up.
We know what this season is about. So why do we need to talk about concerns?
Well, because I think, like Goat was saying, keeping your eyes focused on what the goals of this season are and maybe being concerned that those goals won't be achieved.
Yeah, as the main ambassador of concern up here, please explain yours. Your concern. I would love to hear it.
It's simple, and a lot of Bulls fans don't like it because a lot of Bulls fans don't believe in the idea of tanking. And I understand there's no guarantee the tanking works. There's going to be a multitude of teams racing towards the bottom this year. I get it. I get it. You need a franchise player to compete in this league. You do. The Bulls have never shown their ability to sign one in free agency. They've never shown their ability to bring in a player via trade or sign and trade that is a legitimate, like, ace star player who's good enough to lead them to actual championship contention. So where is your last and only and best hope? It is drafting that player. My biggest concern is the Bulls creating any mathematical odds of conveying that pick to San Antonio in June. Simple as that. Do not risk mathematical chances of ping pong balls bouncing as they may come the NBA draft lottery night to say, well, you know, we probably could have sat X player or Y player or Z player in some of these games in March and April. But hey, looky here. We had ourselves a little Nico Mirotic winning streak. Wasn't that fun? And now San Antonio's picking 11th. And we're shit out of luck.
And I think just to add some like context to that, when you talk about the mathematical odds of the team losing their pick, let's say the Bulls finish as the 10th worst record in the league. Mm-hmm. Everybody says, oh, they're going to keep their pick. It's top 10 protected. That's probably true. The problem is that there is a 19% chance that a team jumps ahead of them and pushes their pick back to 11. Mm-hmm. And then you're giving up the 11th pick, even though you just had a pretty crummy season. There's also a 1.2% chance of two teams jumping you and moving back to 12. So there, you want to give yourself a 20% chance to lose your pick just because of, like, we're talking about like a few extra wins in February and March. It's just not worth it. The only way to guarantee that they're going to keep their pick is if they are the 6th worst team in the league or worse. And that way there aren't enough teams that can jump you to where you move back to 11 and give up that pick. So again, like, that is a huge concern. I think they will probably keep their pick, but to me, it's like even more than that. Like, I'm pushing it even further that direction, which is like, it can't just be you get the 6th pick. Like, you got to go for the 1st pick. To me, that's the most important thing.
Give me that 14%. But I know that not all Bulls fans feel that way. And so, Big Dave, I like how you said the defense was a concern of yours. Like, I think we all know the Bulls are going to be a defensively challenged team.
Yes. I'm concerned about it.
I mean, is it going to pain you to watch this Bulls team try to play on the defensive end this season?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
But fun bad.
Yeah, exactly. Fun bad.
A lot of high-scoring L's.
I'm here for the high scoring, but I also know watching bad defensive play is not something I'm cool with watching, regardless of how I feel the season is going to go or how it should go.
Maybe while talking about youth player development, letting some bad habits creep in and being okay with those bad habits, specifically on the defensive end, because they all kind of at some point just shrug and acknowledge and give up on trying to be a respectable defense.
Everybody just not being on their assignment and allowing easy layups is going to frustrate the hell out of me. I don't care what season it is. It's going to frustrate me looking at that happen. So, yeah, it's a concern. I know what this defense is going to be. They're going to be near the bottom, or if not the worst. And I completely get that. But, yeah, that just concerns me because I want to see who actually is going to step up and actually be the best defensive player on their team, like flat out be the best one. Is it going to be Io who's going to step up and do that? Will it be Patrick Williams during the No Excuses tour? Watching Modest on the weak side defense, I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. So I'm just curious on how Billy plans on playing that, because nobody on there is a real good interior defender. Definitely on this team, we have some guys that might be, you know what I'm saying, on the outside like Lonzo, you know what I mean? Lonzo's really good also with help defense as well. So we might be able to see those kind of things. But, yeah, just watching bad defense night after night is why you will get me up and yelling about 150 points. Like, it's just how it happens, bro.
Perdue, what do you make of the defensive challenges facing the Bulls this season? I mean, especially as a former NBA center, Vooch has taken a lot of heat from Bulls fans over the last few seasons about being the big reason for their defensive shortcomings, and Billy kind of going back and forth on, you know, saying we do play a drop coverage game or actually no, we don't, and they're playing some sort of hybrid version of it. Do you think that Vooch is still going to be this team's biggest defensive problem in the absence of Alex Caruso, or is it going to be something else?
No, I don't think since he's been here, he's never been the biggest defensive problem. The biggest defensive problem is the inability to stay in front of your man on the perimeter. Is Vooch a good defensive player? No, but he's better than what he gets credit for. But when there's no resistance on the perimeter, Vooch is going to get exposed night after night after night. So one of the things they got to do, in my opinion, is change their coverage when it comes to screen roll. I've always said, if you watched in the preseason, I thought Vooch did an excellent job of running up and down the floor. Yeah. Why? Because he knew he was going to get touches.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he can run. Now, is he going to sprint up and down the floor for an 8-minute stretch? Absolutely not.
Right.
He's going to pick and choose his spots. He's smart enough. Mm-hmm. But also the other thing is, every big man will tell you, if you're not going to guard your guy on the perimeter, eventually I'm going to stop helping you at the rim, because then I'm on too many damn posters because you can't guard somebody on the perimeter. And you expect me to stop a guy that gets a running start?
Yeah.
Time and time again? We're not playing at some rec league. This is the NBA. So when some guy comes rumbling down the lane, I got to make a personal decision. When I'm young and dumb, I'm going to go up and try to block shots, and I'm going to try to foul the guy, and I'm going to send him to the free throw line. But when I get older, I'm thinking twice about that because, first of all, I'm trying to save your ass, but then if you're not going to pass it to me on the other end, I don't think I'm going to do that. And I know you're laughing, but that's just how big guys think.
I love it.
That's the bottom line. So when you make a dumbass play and try to steal a ball that's unstealable, and now you basically open me up to me trying to guard somebody going full speed and getting a head start, and I got to try to move laterally or put my body in front of them, basically one of two things are going to happen, or possibly both of the three options. One, I'm going to get dunked on. Two, I'm going to get a foul call. And three, the other option is I'm not stopping the guy. So it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm in a position where I think I can foul him and keep him from getting the shot off, sure. Okay, I'll do that, send him to the free throw line. But at some point, we have to do a better job with our perimeter defense. And guess what? You just traded away your best perimeter defender.
Yeah. But maybe getting a quality one back in Lonzo. But can you count on Lonzo to play the same amount of games and the same amount of minutes as Caruso, who we do know also because the way he plays has had injury issues throughout his career. But last season
Billy
was
said
like
today, 16 minutes.
A high watermark season for Caruso as far as staying healthy in number of games and number of minutes.
So he's not going to play back-to-backs.
Yeah.
He's starting off the season at 16 minutes and 4-minute stints. I would imagine at any time in this season, even if he's feeling 100%, he will not play more than 25 minutes a game, period. Yeah. And that probably will be by accident.
Go, did you say that Billy said at practice today they're probably going to keep Lonzo in that like 16-minute range out of the gate like preseason?
Yeah, 14 to 16 minutes. I think basically depending on how the outcome is looking in the fourth quarter, like they're probably going to play him, like you're saying, 4-minute stints and then either decide whether to put him back in or not, depending on how the game is trending. I think at a certain point they're going to try to push him a little bit further and, extend that minutes limit, but it's just not something that they have any reason to risk at this point. Like you're talking about giving Lonzo a chance to play beyond just this season, coming back from a surgery no one's ever come back from. As much as he wants to be out there and like, I'm sure feels like he can, he's also on board with that. And he's been very outspoken about, I want to be careful with this. And, it is a brand new knee, as he has said. It's a new cartilage. So it's not like they just kept on having to shave off more and more of the meniscus to where he's got, arthritis and bone on bone. Like that stuff shouldn't be an issue anymore because there's a new ligament in there, but it's just still like, why would you risk it for what? Like there's just not a lot of upside to me in pushing him past where he should or can go. And so, yeah, I think it's fantastic that we're seeing Lonzo out there at all. To me, like it's all, he's already won. Like he's come back from something nobody else has done before.
Correct.
And so that's fantastic. But I just don't want to put him at any additional risk when there's just it's not worth it.
Yeah. That's why I don't expect to see him Friday.
Right.
Because on that back-to-back, I expect to see him that Saturday at the home.
Yeah,
opener.
that would be my guess too, is that he'll obviously play in the opener. And then since he's not playing in back-to-backs and since the first night is on the road, they'll not let him play that first game in Milwaukee, and then he'll come back and play in the home opener.
Rob in the comments pointing out that, hey, maybe the Bulls did lose their best defensive player, one of the best in the league in Alex Caruso, but they also lost one of their worst defensive players in DeMar DeRozan's departure. So there is that. We're going to take one more quick break, then we'll come back. We still got to get to our hot takes for the season and our predictions for what we think the Bulls are going to do record-wise, standings-wise. That's coming up next.
Oh, Blue Chew. Blue Chew. Yes, Blue Chew.
Backup singer
online. You're supposed to have my back on that. That's okay. We'll work on this in practice. We'll do it. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. The process is very simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, like Matt's doing right now. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
So why did you look at me? Because I'm the oldest one on the set?
I just said Matt signing up now, Will.
I was signing up for
I'm over here, Will. Bluetooth tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part, it's done all online. That means no visits to the doctor, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And you can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Does it work? Yes. Do you think you need to try it? I think so. So try it free for a month and see. And guess what? We got a special deal for the listeners out there. Like I said, try Blue Chew free when you use that promo code ALLCITY at checkout and pay just $5 for shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring CHGO Bulls.
Stare down. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Ray Chevy. Say prost to bigger and better savings on your next vehicle, because guess what, y'all? It's Cartoberfest going on now.
My favorite.
At Ray Chevrolet. Head in today to shop their huge selection of new Chevy models at new low prices. Right now, you can take $3,000 up to $12,000 off MSRP on most new Chevy models. Or cruise through fall your own way. Shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. Deals on deals. As one of the top 7 Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Visit our partner this October at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. And of course, you've heard about that Ray Price Promise.
I have.
We'll remind you one more time. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees. Ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about now, the prices you see when you go visit their website, are the price you can expect to see and pay when you go to the dealership and say, hey, I want that car for that price. On top of that, Ray and his team will do everything they can to find you even more savings once you show up at the dealership. Shop Cartoberfest all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet Fox Lake and raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Look how excited salesman Jim is. Look at sales guy Jim. This is the only time I've seen him over here.
You got a 3 for today.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thank you for selling a bunch of ads.
Yeah, facts.
We got to get paid somehow.
Facts, sir.
All right, guys. So moving on. Hottest take for the season. Goat, let's start with yours. I like it because it involves the Bulls being a high-volume three-point shooting team this season.
Oh, that's up his alley.
I think last year Kobe set the franchise record for most three-pointers made in a Chicago Bulls season with 209. My bold prediction is that Kobe White breaks that record and sets a new franchise record for most threes in a season. And also Zach LaVine breaks that record and sets a new franchise record for threes in a season.
Okay.
You're looking at 50 threes going up in preseason games, 47.8 per game on average over the preseason, second most in the league. They're putting up shots like that. I think both those guys can surpass that number.
The new Steph and Clay.
Zach and Splash brothers.
Oh, man.
I dig it. Mr. Perdue, your hot take, and you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but if you kind of want to add to it right now, when you're talking about Peter Patton and the role he's playing, your hot take is that you think there's a chance we see a major step of improvement from Patrick Williams and his game this season. What specifically, as far as his game, do you think could be what opens that door for him? We talk about wanting to see Patrick as like, a 3-level scorer in this league and having not really seen much of that yet. Do you think that is possible?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think just his aggression, and I think we saw it in the last preseason game. I think he's starting to realize that he can get to the rim and dunk over people.
Ooh,
He did do that.
I loved seeing that.
Yeah.
And I just think that if he sticks with Peter Patton and listens and stays healthy, that's been an issue, that this stuff will start to come. Not only because of Peter Patton, but P. Will's 2 biggest fans are Kobe and Io.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think they're also going to be in his ear about, this is what we need from you. Nothing less. Plenty more. Because not only has this franchise now invested in you, but that means that we've invested in you because we're part of this franchise. and we need you to do better. Listen, we all know what his personality is like, and I'll be very clear. You know, I've met him. I've met his parents. I hope that as my son, who's now a junior in college, even though my son's basically the same age, has a lot of his traits. Mm-hmm. He makes eye contact. Yes, sir. No, sir. He's very respectful. Mm-hmm. But he's got to, as Pop says, he's got to find he's got to find some nasty. Mm-hmm. And I think that because of the support he's getting now and the lack of obstacles in front of him, the only obstacle in front of him now is him. Mm. Before, there were other obstacles that he couldn't control. Right. Those have been eliminated. They're gone. And I think that now he's a smart kid. I think he's realizing if I don't succeed now, this is on me. There's no other excuse. And I think that's also how they're now selling it to him.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Rock's in the comments saying Patrick Williams saying a big step forward qualifies as a scorching hot take, not just a hot take. Dysfunctional. Yeah, but let me, it's a hot take to guess that Patrick Williams stays healthy for an entire season. You just touched on that too, Perdue.
But I'm not saying he's going to jump to a 20-point plus per game score. What's his career average, Will?
10 points.
Yep. I'm saying that now we're looking at a guy that if things go well, and it's going to take a little time, he could be that guy that could give you consistently 16 to 18 a night. Mm-hmm.
That would qualify, I think, as a big jump.
That's a huge jump, yeah.
But I also feel like that he's starting to realize that when you're not having a good shooting night, there is a place where you can still score.
Yes.
It's called the free throw line.
Yes.
Woo!
Preach, Will.
I don't know if Patrick knows what that is. I would love to see it. Would love to see Patrick significantly bump up his free throw attempts this season. And we've talked about the void of free throw attempts that DeMar DeRozan's absence is going to, leave this team. And
yeah,
listen, it's a lot, but you said hot take.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you a lukewarm take.
I love it.
No, it's not how you roll.
Speaking of which,
my hot take is Kobe's going to be in the All-Star team.
We have opposing views related to Nikola Vucevic here between Big Dave and our producer Katie Dovey.
Okay.
When it comes to hot takes.
Okay.
And I hate
but
to
hold on
it
a
to
second.
Katie.
Wait a minute. You just put Katie in a bad position because she said, "I remind you, I can't talk."
I know. Yeah. I know she can't defend herself right now, and I don't think she needs to defend this take.
Yeah, it's not to defend.
Because I'm about to share with y'all what Katie's hot take is.
These are hot takes.
Nikola Vucevic is the most frustrating player on this Bulls roster. He's a perpetual double-double, but a very empty double-double. Mm. You say that to a field of Bulls fans, and not one of them will claim that that's a hot take. I think that most Bulls fans believe that is a very reasonable take.
Very
because
true.
Most Bulls fans share that very same opinion.
I told you she would let you know you're the number one fan.
Number one fan. There it is. Number one fan. Hey, Katie, let me show you how it's done with a Vooch hot take.
Katie, put up 3 fingers. No, put up 3 fingers.
I only saw one just now.
No, I can't do it on TV. No, now put them together and tell them to read between the lines.
Read between the lines, man.
Read between the lines, man. Read between the lines.
Conversely, Big Dave.
Yeah.
Your hot take on Vooch.
Mine is a hot take. That's what I'm talking about.
Is that he will have his best season since 2021.
You heard me.
The year that the Bulls made the midseason trade for then All-Star.
Yes.
When he was shooting 40% from 3.
Version of Vooch.
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
So thank you. And shout out to Katie. So the reason I say this is this. We talked a lot about Patrick Williams, and you just said it, Will, things being removed from him to allow him to do his thing. Well, that goes for Vooch too. That goes for him as well. So you've talked a lot about a big man not running because he's not getting the ball, and Vooch actually now running because he gets the rebound and he's getting out on the break. Well, he wasn't doing that a lot, because he knew he might not be the option, to get the basketball. I think now Vooch knows that he might be that second option on his team for sure. He might be that guy. And also, we saw a lot of it in the preseason. Watch how he played in the preseason, because I said it several times, how he was moving out there. I was like, this dude looks a little extra spry, and and how he's moving and playing out there. And if you looked at his numbers in that preseason, you look at the box score, and it'd be like 18 and 12 and 6 assists and a block in less than 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And you were like, oh, shit. Like, oh, okay, Vooch is doing something. I think we will continue to see that because he will have more touches than he has had previously. Because obviously you had DeMar DeRozan and you had DeMar also in the post, in the mid-range game, where Vooch likes to kind of operate and do his thing. Well, he's not there anymore. They will give him all the room he needs to maneuver. Patrick Williams is not going to fight him for that. So he will get all the room he needs to do what he likes to do down there in that post, clearing out and also passing out of it, because he's always been a really excellent passer out of the post. He's one of the best passing centers. I think you will see him have his best season that he has had in a while since he's had it in this Bulls uniform, because he will have space to do what he wants to do, which leads to your mental being okay.
I think that's a great point, too, because of the pace that we talked about.
Correct.
When there are so many more possessions, I mean, their pace was like 110 in preseason. I don't think it'll be quite that high during the regular season, but there's just more opportunity. The game is coming to them a little bit more easily. You're not having to create as much. You're just like finding gaps in the system, in the flow of the offense. And I think Vooch really succeeded in that through those preseason games. So I think his numbers will look a lot bigger. I think Kobe's, Zach's, all of them. Like, they're just going to be putting up more points because, one, there's like a DeMar-sized hole in the offense that they need to replace. But two, some of those points should just come easier in the flow of the game, in transition, more spaced out threes, like attacking closeouts. The defenses that they're playing are constantly going to be tilted because of the pace that the Bulls are trying to play. And it's not always going to be 100%, and they're not always going to be hitting all their threes every night. But I just think that offense should come a lot easier for this team. It's really the defensive side where it's like, okay, you're going to be scoring enough, but like, can you get enough stops to actually come out ahead in the scoring?
Agree. Shout out Katie Hot Take.
Hey.
Dang, I said something nice and she told me I was number one.
Reading the comments that I don't think Vooch should be getting more shots up, and that he wanted those shots to go to the young guys. Specifically, I think he said he wants Kobe taking 20 to 25 a night. 20 maybe, but we're talking about this fast-paced offense. I don't know if Kobe is going to be that much of a, like, I am the guy usage-wise to be shooting 25 shots a night.
Yeah.
Okay, to round out hot takes, and
I'm ready for this.
we are going to go a little long today because this is a big season preview episode. We got the whole crew here. So, just as a reminder, because we're giving you a little extra juice today, if you haven't done it yet, hit that like button like Katie's been reminding you to do in the comments. Tone and I had a kind of similar hot take in that both of ours were related to Modest Buzelis. Tony Gill just said, Modest is everything we thought Patrick Williams was going to be. Big, bold hot take right there. I said, Modest is starting 20 or more games this year.
And that's a hot take, baby.
Why?
I like it.
Take your pick. Patrick Williams, remaining the underwhelming version of Patrick Williams, the only one we've ever known as Bulls fans. Injuries that maybe aren't super serious injuries, but this team has ulterior motives and trying to do some things. We heard Billy Donovan say in a 670 interview, not this morning, but the one, a few weeks ago, hey, maybe part of Modest's development is getting some run in the G League. And I threw a million hats and said, are you kidding me? You just spent an entire season there. You just drafted him with the 11th pick. Play this kid. And then we've gradually seen some preseason action, and we, heard Billy talk about the role and his rotation and going 10 deep again today. And now we're talking about, hey, maybe Modest actually is going to be maybe not playing a bunch of minutes, but have a role off the bench on this team this season. I think we will get to the end of this season and he will have already progressed beyond just I have a role and that role is off the bench. I think he will progress to a point of I have a role and some nights it's me starting. And I want that to happen, and I think it will happen.
Okay. All right. I'm with it.
That's still only what? A quarter of the season?
Yeah.
20 games of 82?
Yeah.
Give me that.
So you're seeing it more towards the end of the season when
spot starts in the first half of the season, and then when we make our way into those final, 2.5 months of the season, starting lineups with Modest Buzelis, Tim Sinclair, start practicing how you want to say Modest Buzelis as a starter, because it's happening. It's freaking happening.
I'm with it, man.
Before we get to our predictions, records-wise, standings-wise, just a quick reminder to sign up to become a CHGO diehard if you aren't already. Y'all, you may have heard us mention it yesterday. You may have heard it and seen it on the social medias all over the place today. We are running a very limited time offer right now. To sign up to become a CHGO diehard, instead of our usual annual rate that breaks down to $6.67 a month, right now you can sign up as a first-time CHGO diehard for just $4 a month.
4 of them things.
If you're someone who goes out and enjoys a nice fancy coffee to get your day started a few times a week, okay, cool, great. I love that for you. $4 a month.
A month.
One coffee order, and not even. How coffee's outrageously expensive these days. One coffee order a month, and instead you get a year's worth of the very best of our content here at CHGO, plus all the perks, plus all the discounts, events, merch, and more. Discord hangs. What are you waiting for?
Does that come with coffee?
No. But anytime
Comes
you
with a
need
shirt.
a coffee, you just let me know. Will Perdue. I'll get you covered.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee, but I just had
Katie said, what about her?
Yeah?
She likes coffee.
Okay.
We can't hear you. You're on your mic. Can't hear you. Sorry.
You told us you couldn't talk.
Anytime we're coming in to do pre and post this season, Katie, and you feel like you're dragging a little bit, you need coffee, you let me know. I'm not someone who pops in and gets coffee at places. I have my Keurig at home. That is where I drink my coffee.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll bring one
Flex.
on for the car ride to the office.
Too fancy for
But it's just like, dude, who wants to wait in line at a Starbucks or wherever for an $8 coffee?
Yeah, how dare you, regular people?
No, I'm just saying, hey, to each their own. Whatever floats your boat.
That's it. Just
Like,
flex on them, man. Go ahead, flex.
Just give me a black cup of coffee.
That's it.
I don't need the pumpkin spice. You don't drink coffee at all, Perdue?
No.
Me neither, Will.
Stunts your growth.
That's like I'm talking.
You still thinking about that? You're trying to get to that, minute bowl height?
Yeah, now I'm fighting gravity, man.
Good luck.
I used to be 7'2". Now I'm only 7'1"3/4.
That ain't the gravity he's talking about. Shout out to you, Will.
All right. With that, shout out to all of you who have already become a CHGO diehard. Tell all of your fellow Bulls fans in there just how great of a deal it is. Join the Cool Kids Club. Predictions. I think for the most part, we were in a pretty similar zone as far as what we saw Bulls win-loss record being. Katie, if you want to throw up the predictions, including the official rollout of the Uncle Will Perdue All-City Avatar.
Look at that.
Shout out to our guy, Eric over there at DVR, who made that one on the fly today.
I trust him.
Handsome as ever.
Yes, he is.
With those specs. So at the low end, we see our guy, Gottlieb, predicting 27 and 55.
I did not think I would be the lowest one.
Well, yeah, that's Mark K's gone. The Queen, whose avatar is still in the works, Katie Duffy, going with 34 and 48. And how did you phrase it in the roundtable write-up? Respectably below mid. I do not like those two words being together, respectably and below mid. The Bulls have been just below mid for a couple years now, and I do not respect it. I think some Bulls fans see mid-30s as doable. Even the departures of DeMar and Caruso saying, hey, we're going to play at a faster pace. We got all these guys. Kobe's on the rise. I can take a step forward. We still have Zach here. Lonzo's coming back. Rattling off all kinds of reasons to predict that this could still be a 30-plus win team.
Yeah.
I think Vegas, last I checked, still has them around, 28.5, Goat? Something like that?
27.5.
Yeah, 27.5. Also, I like that, for the record, we all sent our answers, not just our predictions, but all of our answers for this roundtable to go independently of one another. And there are me and Big Dave.
That's what we do.
Both at 29 and 50.
Sharing brains.
I thought Matt would be lower, and I thought Dave would be higher.
Wow.
Quit judging me, Will.
I could not do it. I'm terrified.
I will not.
I'm terrified that number might actually be 30 or 31 or 32.
And I want to add, I wrote this in the thing, but I wanted to stay consistent because that was the pick that I made when I went on Dunked On, and I just wanted to be consistent with that. But the way that they played in preseason, I would not be surprised if they get into the low 30s. Like they looked a lot better than I thought they did.
I agree with that.
I just couldn't put a 3 next to my name. I can't do it. I'm losing sleep as it is. Perdue, you were sitting here in one of our preseason post-game shows saying, hey, don't be surprised if this Bulls team strings some wins together and makes their way back to the play-in tournament. But you are predicting just 28 wins for them. I mean, did you maybe change your mind a little bit? Do you think that it's possible with maybe some of the East teams being just a whole other atrocious level of bad that they could make their way into a 9th or 10th seed with just a win total in the high 20s?
No, I think they definitely have that potential.
Okay.
And the talent. I just think that there will be other factors that will prevent that. or hopefully we'll see the light that doesn't need to happen this year.
I see that. I like that, Will. Very poetic and stoic. I dig it. You're terrified, aren't you?
Okay, and also Tony Gill, buddy, he's not here. I saw him earlier today. He's gone home for the day, I believe. But so he predicted 31 and 51.
Yeah.
But whereas, we were all high 20s and saying, hey, 11th place. I think Big Dave, you said even 12th place. Mm-hmm. Purdue, you predicted 11th.
I think the East is better than what it's going to be.
Goat, 11th. I predicted 11th. Mm-hmm. Tony Gill said 31 and 51 and 10th. Back in the play-in. And I hate Tony Gill for that because do not dare you speak that into existence. I mean, I love Tony Gill. Great guy. Everyone loves Tony Gill. But I was hoping for a clean sweep of all of us saying, for all the panic after the preseason, nah, Bulls aren't going to be a play-in team again.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the prize. Stick to the goal. Yeah. And do everything you can to protect that top 10 draft pick, and ideally, as many people in the comments have been saying today, capture the flag. I saw some people still trying to make poop for Coop the hashtag when it comes to the Bulls and their draft-related goals this season. I just it's not a great mental image. I don't like it. Capture the flag is just so crisp and clean and nice, and it's a fun game we all played as kids, and the man's name is Flag. I like it. Jeb Rock said Tony Gill's an agent of chaos. He wants to see Peck throw a hat through a brick wall.
I must throw it through the glass one time, so that's a thing.
Can we look at something real quick?
Please, yeah.
So this is why I picked what I picked.
Okay.
Charlotte, Brooklyn, Washington, Toronto.
Ugh.
Those 4 teams are going to have worse records than the Bulls, regardless of what the Bulls attempt or don't attempt to do. To me, the toss-up is Detroit and Atlanta.
Yep.
Atlanta's going to do what they always do. They're going to be right in the middle.
Atlanta owes their pick to the Spurs, so they have no incentive to tank.
Yeah.
The Hornets owe a lottery-protected pick, which, even if they make the play-in, realistically, they're going to keep that.
They can protect that more easily than the Bulls can protect theirs.
The Pistons also owe a protected pick. I don't exactly remember what the protections are, but I just think that there's a lot of gravity for a lot of these teams against trying to make the play-in.
Yeah.
And again, unless the Bulls really lean into that, there's always the odds that just they'll make the play-in because somebody's got to. And the other teams will be pushing harder. And so to me, that's the concern. I do think that they will lean into it at a certain point, understanding that the importance of keeping their pick is greater than the idea of, making the play-in again.
Yeah.
But just with the race to the bottom being what it will be, especially in the Eastern Conference, I think it will be tight. Now, even if the Bulls do make the play-in as the 10th seed, there's a world where they do that and keep their pick.
Correct.
With teams in the West, there will be teams in the West who don't make the play-in that have better records than the teams in the East who do make the play-in. So even if they finish 10th in the East, they could finish with the 8th worst record or the 9th or the 7th. And that puts them in a position where unless they make the playoffs through the play-in, then odds are they will keep their pick. But again, to Matt's point, you have to mathematically eliminate your chances of giving up that pick. That is the key here. And so there's a world where they do both, but it probably, to me, even if the outcome is they make the 10th seed, they lose in the play-in, they finish with the 9th worst record, and they jump all the way up to 1, the process will have been wrong there, to me. And so obviously the result would be great, but
give me the result.
I think, and the result really is what matters, but if you're talking about a front office learning its lessons and building the right way and giving you confidence in them to build a team moving forward, to me,
real
that's
quick,
what it is.
Okay, tell me what teams you think in the West outside of Utah and Portland are going to be worse than the Bulls.
None.
None of them.
None, I don't think.
The Kings, the Suns, the Rockets, the Pelicans, the Spurs. Now, the Spurs, you don't 50-50.
Yeah, that's fair.
Nuggets, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Oklahoma City. Clippers, you don't know if they're going to be healthy.
Clippers might be trash.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers and the Spurs will win mid to high 30s, 35, 37
But then you're basically
wins.
only talking about 2 teams, Portland and Utah.
You're talking about Portland and Utah in the West,
But
and then
as you started out and you pointed out, probably the most passionate I've seen you since we've now been working together is when you basically were talking about why risk it.
It's all about playing the odds.
Why risk it? I mean, yeah, if you could get the 10th, like to me, the ultimate would be to make that 10th spot, get some more experience for these guys, and still get your pick. That's great. But as you pointed out, why risk it?
Yeah, if you could pull it off like the Hawks did last year,
right?
Best case scenario.
But then also say you get the 10th spot, what's the in realistic terms without getting Derrick Rose lucky, where are you going to be in the draft?
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're going to be what, 6, 7, 8?
Probably closer to 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you really, I mean, listen, it's basically there's a lot of luck involved in getting the number 1 pick, period.
Tons.
But if you can position yourself to get top 5, this draft is deep. When you talk about generational, I think one of the deepest drafts, and I don't mean like 10 deep, I mean like 5, 6, 7 deep of possible generational players.
Right. That's what we're hearing around all the NBA draft experts these days. Is that class of 25, 6, maybe even 7 players in that class, all of whom would have been consensus number 1s if they were in the 2024 draft class.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Speaking of that desire for Cooper Flag, it was shout out to Football CF Candy who threw us a super chat with that hashtag poop for Coop slogan for this Bulls, saying we need to be bad. Also saying, maybe we'll see a certain billboard variety this season. Bulls fans are always unpredictable, but there are different goals at hand this season. Okay. Real quick before we get out of here, we thought it would also be fun. Rocky Rosado was just talking about different Bulls who might win awards this season. Let's talk about season awards. Rocky said Kobe White will be in the MVP race. What planet you live on, Rocky? Thanks for joining us. I would assume it was 6th man, Modest Buzella's Rookie of the Year. Now, some of that I can get behind. Io might start too much. I don't know. Maybe not. Doesn't project to be in the starting lineup coming out of the gate this season, but he could be in that conversation. I thought about saying Modest Rookie of the Year as my hot take. I didn't quite have the stones. I just went with he's going to start a bunch this season. But speaking of the underwhelming 24 draft class, I think that's possible. Now, all over the world to Kobe White. Let's talk for realsies. Who's winning MVP this season? Because I wanted to say Luka finally gets his.
I'm going to say Luka.
But I just don't know if Luka has the legs, the staying power, the whatever. Like, it's always something with Luka. He's always battling a nagging injury. I think I'm going to say SGA.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all.
Because the Thunder are also going to be really good again this year, and he's going to be a big reason why.
Good. I'm going with Luka on this. I think it's just time to get his on that one. And also having Klay Thompson on his team is just really going to elevate his numbers even more. And I think just ease his game a little bit more. I'm gonna go with Luka.
Purdue, who's your MVP?
I'm going with Luka, and part of it also is because of MVP fatigue.
Yeah.
Shout out Daniel
Gafford. Joker might still put up some of the most impressive stats, efficiency wise, team wins wise, but that fatigue is the thing. It exists. It's why, in my opinion, why he didn't win 3 in a row and the Embiid got one. Goat.
Yeah, I got Luka as well. I think that MVP is a narrative award, and that those narratives are beginning to form in the previous season's playoffs. And Luka carrying that team to the finals while injured, having the season that he had, and then the team getting better and like a full season with PJ Washington and Gafford. Now you add Klay Thompson into the mix. I think they're going to be really good. And I do think, like, from the voters' perspective, like, Luka will be a multi-time MVP, and like it's probably time to give him one. Like, he is he's incredible.
And shout out to Jep Rocks. That's my dark horse is Jason Tatum. I think he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder this year because they have been so disrespected as champions, man. He and Jaylen Brown have taken a lot of guff this offseason.
They were straight up dominant for the entirety of last regular season.
Entirety of the
waltzed through some injury-plagued teams in the Eastern Conference playoffs. But and Tatum specifically, you're talking about chip on his shoulder. Where are his postseason awards? Because he didn't get any.
Didn't get any. Listen, Tatum got to the Olympics and didn't play. And Jaylen Brown should have been in the Olympics. Like they were both disrespected in my opinion, and I think they're gonna take it personally.
No. Let me throw something in there.
Come on, Will.
I agree with you 100%. But now that they've won a championship, that's all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying he's going to pull his foot off the gas.
Right.
But I have a feeling now that because
preserving himself for a run to repeat to defend the crown.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I kind of lost you after you said I 100% agree with you. Do you agree with me 100%? I kind of just took that frame, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep that in my brain forever. Thank you, Will Perdue.
You think Tatum will play enough? Was it 65 games to qualify for these season awards?
Oh, absolutely.
You just don't think he'll be full throttle, like going for 30
takes
points
pride in
that,
but I think that it's just that to him doesn't mean that now means nothing to him,
right?
In my personal opinion. Whereas Embiid's talking about that's important to him.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
Tatum is basically like, I realize now I will not be judged on whether I win an MVP award. I'll be judged on how many championships I win.
Yeah, they're going to be chip on the shoulders.
Okay,
Serious.
Real quick, Defensive Player of the Year, Wemby or the Field?
Wemby.
I think I'm going Wemby.
Wemby. He should have won last year.
Shout out to Alex Caruso. Wouldn't hate it if he wins it for OKC.
Fair.
I mean, it would obviously tear my heart out because he didn't win it with the Bulls. But hard for those guards to win DPOY. Coach of the Year. Who you guys think is maybe front runner or maybe a dark horse?
Wow, that's a good question.
I mean,
Minnesota's coach, I think.
Finch.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
Finch
Dagnall. Zula.
When's the last time there's been a repeat back-to-back Coach of the Year?
That's a good question.
I do like Dagnall a lot. He obviously won it last year, but I'm going with Mazzulla. I think the way that he put his imprint on the way that the Celtics play, I think that matters. And I think they're going to be the best team in the league.
Sixth man of the year.
Ayo Dosunmu.
Wow.
Ayo Dosunmu.
Come on with it.
I'm going with it as well.
I'll take it. You?
Sure.
All right. We in.
Well, I can't be the only one.
You can be.
I know. If his role stays steady and he is someone who primarily comes off the bench this season in a way that qualifies him for this, absolutely, I think I would assume it can be good enough.
Okay.
To be seriously considered for that award.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Most improved.
Hold on. Is Caruso going to be starting for OKC?
I thought about Caruso, and I had him until the Hartenstein injury. I think now that puts him back on the starting lineup along with Dort, moving Chet to the 5. I think they just have to go a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go dark horse is going to be when Hartenstein gets healthy, I'm looking at Caruso as a dark horse for the sixth man.
Caruso is the sixth man on maybe the number 1 seed in the West. Like, boom, there's your sixth man of the year right there. Most improved. I know Bulls fans want to see Kobe make another run at this season. Came this close, narrowly losing to Tyrese Maxey of the Sixers last year. I personally rooting for Kobe to have a year that is even more impressive than last. I do not know if he can bring his game to a level significantly higher than what he did statistically speaking last season, and where we expect the Bulls to be win-loss wise to be in serious consideration for this award a second straight season.
Don't listen to him, Kobe.
Don't.
I'm going to take Brandon Miller for most improved. How you feeling, Will? You rolling with me?
I don't know. I mean, I really like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really like him.
Yes, sir.
I just don't know if, again, on a team that's not going to get a lot of national coverage.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Because that's why this award to me is so hard. Because I thought Kobe was a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that he should have won it? Probably not, but I thought that he should have got a lot more consideration and a lot more discussion and a lot more coverage regarding that.
Okay.
So that's why you got to start thinking about, okay, what teams are on TV a lot? Who's going to get a lot of airtime? I would say most improved would be, all of a sudden I just drew a blank, but he might be comeback would be Clay and
Clay Thompson
in Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comeback player of the year, is that a thing? I can't remember if that's a thing.
Yes,
I know
I
they
believe
added
it
clutch
is,
player of
yes.
the year, comeback player of the year is also a
comeback
thing.
player thing
Yeah,
is
I mean,
a thing.
there's your ripe candidate right there, Klay Thompson
Hopefully it's Lonzo. I mean, that would be
or
cool
Lonzo
too.
Ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think Paolo could also maybe be a dark horse for most improved.
Paolo, man.
Like, dude
Yeah.
just puts up numbers. Maybe Orlando is going to be back in the picture in the Eastern Conference playoff race again.
Yeah.
And if he can just improve his efficiency a little bit while still just putting up numbers, I think that's a possible dark horse.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm going with Evan Mobley. This is the year
Your
of
boy.
Mobley.
This is the year.
That's my guy.
I mean, I said
I'm also morally opposed to second and third year players being on most improved because I just disagree with that. But Mobley in his fourth year, I just think it's wrong.
I agree.
You're supposed to get better.
But that's why he changed it. That's why I picked Brandon Miller.
I think
he changed all that.
The key to the Cavs' success, and I think they're going to be the number 2 seed in the East.
Mhm.
The key to their success is playing more through Mobley. And I think this is going to be his breakout.
Speaking of
All right, go.
long, lanky bigs, you just said, have an opposition, morally speaking, to second and third year players in that award. I saw somebody in the comments mention it. We talked about it for for Defensive Player of the Year, Wemby. I mean, is Wemby the odds-on favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved Player of the Year? Because I think that's certainly possible.
That'd be interesting.
Who's the last person to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year?
Giannis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Giannis did it recently.
Yeah.
Giannis, Hakeem, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Short list.
In the same season.
One guard.
Money on that one in Vegas.
Put some money on that. All right, guys. Last thing. Who wins the chip this year, and who do they beat in the finals to do it?
Boston. They beat OKC.
I'm going to say the reverse. OKC beats Boston. Caruso, champion once again.
I'm not really sure who they're going to play, but Boston's going to win again.
Wow.
And it's either going to be OKC or Denver.
Denver was in my head too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going Boston over OKC. I do think OKC makes a big trade this year.
Mm.
That's a bold one for you.
Big trade.
Big trade.
They got 2 picks coming up in this next
They
year.
still have a zillion picks
crazy.
and
They've got unlimited
Most of the
draft
league's
capital.
best
Got
players.
unlimited.
And, like-
unlimited power.
And
There's
they have a real window. Like
Yeah.
I think they're gonna push some
So
chips
who's
in.
the other team besides OKC that has basically unlimited capital? It's
The
actually
Rockets.
Houston has a
Yeah.
zillion. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they could make a deal. I think the
For sure.
Warriors could make a deal.
for sure.
But doesn't Boston also have some capital that they could play with?
They do have some, but they just have no. They're over the second.
They're
apron,
over
so
the
it's just
second
very
apron.
difficult for them to make.
Very
trades.
hard to make trades. Over that second
Especially with
apron.
new ownership. Hey, welcome
Yeah.
to the league. Smack.
Hey man, good for them. Spent money, got that that elusive 18th chip they've been
Yeah.
searching for since the KG Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Rondo Allen Celtics got it in 08.
You know who's really enjoying life right now? The former owners of the Celtics.
Yeah.
Mm. Facts.
They got their money and they're not having to pay that tax.
Nope, they are sure not.
Sounds like a pretty great idea.
Looks like we're out
Other
of
people
time.
might want to. On that note, that is going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our 24-25 Chicago Bulls season preview episode of CHGO Bulls. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the little extra boost, extra juice. If you did, give us a quick like. It'll take you half a second on your way out. Make sure you also subscribe to that CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Keep it locked right here. We got Blackhawks hockey action on deck tonight, and our crew, Greg, Mario, Jay, will be here for a live CHGO Blackhawks postgame following that one on the ice. As always, read GOAT stuff, allchgo.com, including this roundtable that's up right now, as what you just discussed, these season preview questions. Mr. Perdue is Will_Perdue32. The other Will, perfectly coiffed, Will_Gottlieb, Big Dave, bow, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. And, of course, she may not have a mic, but she's always number one in our hearts. The queen herself, Katie Duffy, on the controls.
She's buying coffee.
We are back tomorrow. Bulls regular season opener. Goat's got to catch a flight down to New Orleans. Bulls Pelicans, 7 p.m. Central Time tip. That means we will be here, me, Big Dave, and Perdue, live at 6:30 for CHGO Bulls pregame. We will see you then. Get some good sleep tonight. Wake up rested tomorrow. Take care of what you got to take care of. And we will see you right here, 6:30 Central, before the tip-off of the Bulls 24-25 season.
Me head out.
Red.
Finally.
Be good. Talk to you tomorrow.
Peace. Me head.
city like the mayor.